Good evening, good evening, good evening. Yes, it's Tuesday night again, and you got the Urban Sentinel live show. I'm Reginald Kearney, or Reggie Kearney. I'm the publisher of the Urban Sentinel magazine, also. And also, I head up the Urban Sentinel live show on Tuesday nights. And hey, we got a show for you tonight. We got our girl, our friend of the show, Raven Thistle. She's going to talk about her new book. We're going to talk about how to cope with the holidays. We're going to just talk. We haven't had her on here in a minute because she's been very busy, getting her book out and published and ready to uh, bring to you guys, and it's ready. So we're going to let her talk more about that. But let's rock and roll, Raven. Where you at, girl? Where are you?
Hello.
Hey,
Thank you
how you
for having
doing?
me back. It's been a hustle between us to get me back on the show.
You ain't joking, I mean, you writing a book and everything, you blowing up and stuff like that, so been kind of hard. So how you been doing?
I've been doing all right. I was posting about this earlier today. A friend of mine told me that she was concerned about me while I was in the process of writing this book. And she was right to be because, the process of writing has really taken me out of my normal jovial and optimistic kind of personality,
Mm,
going back to sort of relive and revisit some of the most difficult things I've ever been through so I could really remember and connect to the reader on what it's like and what I did, to apply the tools I've learned. So, how I've been doing has been, honestly, just really up and down on this journey. And I'm affirmed by the process. I healed even more in the process of writing the book. Um, so yeah, so that's how I'm doing. How are you doing?
oh, I'm doing fine,
You're
trying to,
looking good.
yeah, looks can be deceiving, but I'm doing okay. So I'm trying to keep my head above water and everything, it's the holidays, I made it through Thanksgiving, and so working on that, making it through Christmas and stuff, but hey, I'm coping, and just taking one day at a time, and get past the year anniversary in April and get past my mother's birthday in February. I think I have a good 2025. But then I got to be upbeat because my daughter's pregnant with twins, so I got to roll.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah.
Congratulations, Grandpa.
Thank you. Yeah, this will be number 5 and number 6. Two
Wow.
boys.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I think that'll be a pick me up for the for the new year. Looking forward to that. And then I keep my mind flowing and stuff. So yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
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 Yeah, I know what you mean, Reggie. Today is actually what I call in my family Veneration Day.
Mm-hmm.
December 10th is the day of my grandmother's birthday and also the day of her passing.
Oh, okay.
She was my bestie. And so every year on this day, it's a day to honor her, remember her, share stories. I usually cook a big meal of all her favorite foods. And, um, we just honor her. We pray, over her memory and call around and share with the family just the good energy and memories of her spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So it does make the holidays, different when
Right.
the matriarch of the family is no longer with us.
Yeah. Yeah. It does. It does. It does. So what advice do you have going forward for people at Christmas time on coping and dealing with the holidays?
Well, I mean, do you mean specifically when it comes to grieving through the
Yeah. Yeah.
holidays?
Grieving for the holidays.
Yeah, grief is really a really beautiful part of being human. I always say that grief is the experience of when your love for somebody lives longer than they do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's something to really honor and sit with. That pain that we feel is just the continuation of love that we have for someone. Love is so powerful. It's the only thing that we know of really in our existence that outlives that goes longer than our life.
Mm-hmm.
Time can't stop it, distance can't stop it, even death can't stop it. Um, so when it comes to the grieving process, the first thing is always to honor where you truly are and not to rush yourself through whatever it is that you are experiencing right now. There's no rushing it. There's no faking, that you're okay when you're not. Allowing yourself to cry, allowing yourself to experience joy, to have the happy memories, to have the complex, sometimes when we're grieving, it's complicated. It's not always a death. Grieving sometimes happens when a relationship is just different. It's not what it used to be, or maybe the relationship's over and the person is
Right.
not in life anymore. So all the different types of grief, a friend of mine was sharing that she was really missing and nostalgic for the way Christmas used to feel when you're a kid.
Hmm.
And that's a type of grief as well that we can experience. So the main thing is really to honor exactly where you are and do your best to be present in the moment right now. Um, Sometimes those feelings of nostalgia and pain for what we no longer have can overtake us if we don't have the right tools to bring ourselves back into the present moment and find the peace of right now, that you are safe, if you are safe, or whatever it is that you can be grateful for in the moment. Um, and also try to find community, try to plug in, even if it's not your favorite, your number one pick of a person or a group of people to spend time with.
Right.
Usually is helpful if
Hmm.
you can get around some folks, even if it's coworkers getting together for Christmas thing, or if you're a college student going to the campus dining hall, or find some place where you can actually sit down and commune with someone.
I tell you, one of the things I still struggle with, something will happen, something good will happen, and oh, I'll say to myself, let me call my mother and tell her about that, and that's just, I mean, it's not, something I plan to do, anything like that, but I'm so used to doing that that when something happens, the first thing that hits my mind is that go call your mother and tell her about it.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things I'm, still fighting, and I think that'll be something probably go on forever. Where I always think, well, I need to call my mother and tell her something. It's like sitting around Thanksgiving morning, I was saying, oh, I got to go call her and check on her and see how she's doing today, and then I caught myself and realized she's not here anymore, and I probably would do it again on Christmas Day too, and everything. So just trying to deal with those types of things, but having family around, for the holidays, and like I said, having family around for Christmas, and anticipation of the birth of my grandchildren, so that kind of gets me through, kind of gets me through.
Yeah. Yeah. And and nothing replaces that phone call to mom,
Right.
And I know what you mean about good news,
Yeah.
finishing a book. That was something I used to talk to grandma about all the time,
Right.
and not being able to pick up the phone and make that call. It is painful and
Mhm.
difficult.
Right.
Um,
So
but I think, it's for me at this stage, it's creating new traditions,
hmm
not to replace the old ones, but to generate that newness of life, every season brings something else, right? So we have a season of loss, and then we have the winter time, and then we have spring.
yeah.
We kind of have to create that spring for
hmm
ourselves in those
Yeah.
new traditions.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I hear you saying too with your new grandbabies coming. That's a
Oh
point.
yeah. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to for them to pop around, have some fun. Hopefully longevity will be good to me, and I can, get some good years in with them, spend time with them. So yeah, that makes me happy. That makes me happy. It's like the old folks used to say, when one person passes away, there's a replacement for that person.
Hmm.
And I was telling my wife, I said my mother's really trying to be funny, and, sending down having God send down twins. I said, yeah,
Yeah,
she's really trying to be funny.
yeah, yeah. And I think it's really phenomenal also to remember that souls don't die, souls are eternal.
Yeah.
And so there is like it's a transition. Your mother's soul, my grandmother's soul, is not just vanished, from existence. That energy never dies. Energy
Mhm.
just continues on in a different form.
Yeah.
So for me, communing with my grandmother, I talk. When I woke up this morning, I just started talking to her. Happy birthday. I'm gonna make you a sweet potato pie today.
Mhm.
I miss you. The book is here. Just and finding ways to honor that person. And her last words to me was basically to forgive people and to make sure I have joy and laughter in my life. And so it's the day to day, honoring the laughter and finding that joy um, without forcing it.
So, did you make that sweet potato pie today?
Not yet. I have the sweet potatoes out to boil them.
Mm, mm,
But
mm.
I will be making that pie this evening.
Right. Okay. 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 Okay.
Yeah, that was her favorite.
Mhm.
Last year I made her pound cake recipe,
Right.
and that was good.
Okay. Okay. I just want to make sure you made that you made that sweet potato pie.
If you were in range, Reggie, I would bring some for you and your wife. I bring
I
it
tell
over.
you, you know, I love some sweet potato pie now.
So do I.
You,
Now we'll sit
you,
around and have
hey,
some
look.
pie.
Hey, bring it on, bring it on, bring it on. Yeah, but you know, it's the memories are good. You know, the reminisce and everything. You know we only here for a short time. We know we're not here forever. It'd be nice to be here forever, but we know we're not. You know, so we do have the opportunity to cherish those memories, which are good memories. You know, so telling everybody out there gather up some family for the holidays. You know, if you're going through that grieving process, so you can just enjoy the holidays and stuff, but don't let go of the memories, don't let, because those can never be replaced, the memories, you know,
Yeah.
those can never be replaced. Okay, well, let's talk about some other stuff. Let's talk about your book. Now, how many years did you work on this book?
So in a roundabout way, I've been working on this book for about 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And really, initially, the concept that I was writing about was how to love yourself. I was writing a book about just how to love yourself. And I created what I now call the love based growth model
Mm-hmm.
on that. So the concepts that are in this book are things that I've been working on or putting in practice in my coaching business for the last 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as feverishly writing, fuck them, heal you, the last 5 months have been 6 to 12 hours a day, every day,
Mm-hmm.
writing, revising, deleting, editing, rewriting, every single day. And so there was a 10-day period in there where I didn't do any writing because I was at a meditation course learning a new meditation technique. So it was no phones, no writing, no uh, contact with the outside world, no speaking for those 10 days, and just 11 hours a day of meditating. And that process of sitting still, having nothing but my mind for 11 hours a day, every day, helped to focus me even more on the writing when I came out. Um, so 7 years, so to roundabout for all the concepts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and 5 months of intense writing on top of 7 years of
Mm-hmm. But
material.
excuse me, what made you jump on the intense portion of writing, doing the writing for the 5 months?
Um, so many things.
Mm-hmm.
This year has, I mentioned at the top of our time together, before we even went live, just that this year has been so difficult for me. It's, back in February, I was laid off from my job. In March, I
Mm-hmm.
ended my romantic relationship. April brought challenges. Yeah, every month it was like something else. And I understood that these changes were building up to what I had been praying for.
Mm-hmm.
in my life. I wanted to change my career. I wanted a happier, healthier relationship. I wanted more for my life.
Right.
I didn't know that it was going to cause everything to be washed out at once.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time that summer came around, I made the decision to start creating from the ashes of everything that had burned away from me the life that I actually wanted, and to stop settling for what I felt was being given to me.
Mm-hmm.
When I sit down and thought about, what do I actually want for my life, that was easy.
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted to be a writer and author, which is why
Mm-hmm.
I've had these things. I've been writing these concepts for 7 years because I've always wanted that. I've always wanted to focus on my art and creating. I've wanted to focus on being a speaker. Um, I've always wanted to live in Texas. So this summer I moved to Texas. I created a new program in my business, Reggie, to teach on college campuses. And I remember talking to you about that on your show, to teach holistic wellness on college campuses.
Mm-hmm.
I had an institution that I was going to do that program with. We were in the contract phase. I was hiring people, and they ghosted me. The
Mm-hmm.
institution stopped returning my phone calls, stopped, answering my emails. I couldn't get in touch with any of the key contacts. And here I am in the throes of hiring. I sent my kids to live with their dad instead of with me, where they've always been, so that I could focus on building this business and working with this university. And but my contract just fell through my fingers. It About 2 months later, I learned that they had lost their grant funding for the program, but no one told me that.
Right.
So, and by the time I realized we're not doing this, it was too late for me to onboard another institution. School had already started.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my, 6-figure contract that I was counting on for my livelihood. Um, and so at that point, I really had to think about what's my pivot. Um, and I knew that if I was working in the college space, there were certain things that I might be penalized for talking about, or, the parts of myself that wouldn't be welcome.
Right.
I've been an advocate for sexual wellness and being open about sexuality and healing with sexual energy. And I've been an advocate of, you know, um, unabashedly showing up as who you are, whether that means finishing school or pivoting into something else. You know what I mean? And so just those parts of my ways of doing things may not have been as welcome in the college space. I don't know. Maybe they would have. And
Right.
so I decided, okay, well, since I still don't have a big brother kind of breathing over my shoulder, telling me what to do and what's acceptable and what's not,
Mm-hmm.
what is the most risky thing that I want to do? Um, and that's when I put out, for the first time, content and products to help and support people specifically in their sexuality and sexual wellness.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I felt, Reggie, like I had jumped ahead in the story of what I wanted to create and help people with, because the sexual part is a part of the total healing of a person. It's not the whole thing, and it's not the main thing that I focus on. It's
Mm-hmm.
one of the things. And I had to take a step back and say, how do I help people on a larger scale? What if I take all the concepts that I've learned, everything up until this point on my journey, and I put it into one book, that can help people with their total wellness mindset and how they
Mm-hmm.
prioritize themselves in life.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Reggie, because I had no children, no job, nothing popping in my business, right? I've moved across the country. I said, this is the time, because I always have said, I wish I could take a year to work on writing. I wish I could take this
Mm-hmm.
time. And so I buckled down and I started writing. I didn't have a deadline or anything. I just started writing.
Right.
I love writing. So I would lose track of time. I'd sit down in the morning, 8 a.m., have my cup of tea. And by the time I was ready to stop writing, it would be 5 or 6 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And so I told my friends, oh, I'm doing this writing. I have this concept. I'm working on this book. And one of my friends challenged me and was like, well, when is it going to be done?
Uh-huh.
When are you going to publish it and put it out? You're writing every day. When are we going to get a book? And so I set myself a deadline to publish December 12th,
Mm-hmm.
and that put the fire under me to continue the writing like I was.
Right.
Um, and so over the process, Reggie, I have just fallen in love so much with the book and what it means. Um, I've never been so proud of a body of work. And, I'm an artist. I've been an artist my whole life. I've
Mm-hmm.
sculpted and created all kinds of things, but this is different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gosh,
Yeah.
girl, you brought it on, didn't you? You went,
Yeah.
you dived in, you just jumped in the pool and stayed there till you got it finished.
Well, I also, Reggie, I've been living in my SUV. I'm unhoused. I live in my SUV for the last 4 months. And so, it's comfortable for me. I have a bed in there, I have a dresser for my
Mm-hmm.
clothes and things like that. And I kind of live a nomadic lifestyle. But
Mm-hmm.
with me being totally detached this way, it's like it's motivation,
Mm-hmm.
you know? I'm
Well,
motivated to do this.
it's probably like you just had the space and the time and no distractions, and you could just go for it, and immerse yourself in it, because you didn't have no distractions.
Yes.
You didn't have no distractions and everything, So
Yeah.
that was cool, that was cool. Well, look, did the university ever call you and tell you what happened?
No, I had to,
Yes.
they didn't, but I have a friend who works there,
Mm-hmm.
and I just told him, look, like this really derailed a lot of things for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I lost credibility in my business. The people who I was hiring, they were like, well, this whole thing was a scam. Anyway,
Yeah.
it really made me look bad.
Mm-hmm.
And as a woman of integrity, I couldn't give them an answer as for what happened because I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
So, I reached out to my friend that works at the institution. He asked around,
Mm-hmm.
and he found out for me that the grant funding was supposedly lost. But to this day, I still never got any responses from the key contacts there, the vice presidents that I was working with there.
Because all they had to do is just get on the phone and say, "Look,
Yep,
hey Raven, this is what happened. We lost our
yep.
grant funding."
Or even to let me know that that was a possibility,
Yeah.
because they were speaking with, so, oh yes, right, we love this, we're gonna, and then just nothing.
hmm Now, are you going to try to do that concept again?
No, I've changed the concept.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of me having a solidified contract with an institution,
Mm-hmm.
now the Empower Ed program is a speaker circuit where colleges can hire me to come and do workshops
Mm-hmm.
and or an entire full day conference on their campus for the students and the faculty and staff.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
it's not like a whole, like I'm going to be your dedicated person for the year
Right.
anymore.
Right.
Now it's like I'll come for a day, maximum of 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good way to do it and everything.
Mhm.
So you basically self-published your book.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So you probably saved a lot of money doing that, doing your own editing and rewriting and all that kind of stuff instead of passing it on to an editor and letting them do it for you.
Yeah, at first I was doing it for that reason. And I have a few friends who are writers, and they're really talented, extremely smart women. And I asked them if they would proofread the book for me.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was going through their proofreads, I was like rejecting all of their edits because I liked it the way I want. I wanted it to be my words
Mm-hmm.
for my reader.
Mm-hmm.
So that taught me that, like, okay, Raven, you can trust yourself. This is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. So, what did your friends say when you decided not to use their?
They were down. I mean, they were like, it was already good. You didn't need our help. Like, we
Right.
just, so as far as like, hey, you missed a comma here, consider
Mm-hmm.
putting this sentence at the beginning of the paragraph, that type of thing.
Right.
But
Right.
I
Right.
didn't let anybody change anything.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now the big question is, okay, let me find my book here, my book cover and everything. Because I was just looking at it. Okay. Now, how did you come up with this title?
Oh
Let
yeah.
them heal you. Tell me, how did you come up with the title?
I feel like I've been saying that for years in so many
Mm-hmm.
words. I feel like that's how I live my life. Um, but the title actually was something else. About maybe 3 months ago or so, I had a
Mm-hmm.
different title. And I called one of my girlfriends who's just a marketing genius. She's a
Mm-hmm.
realtor, she's a credit guru. And I called her and I was like, girl, I just don't feel like this title is it. It's not doing it for me. It doesn't feel like me. It's boring.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, what if the title has profanity in it? And
Uh-huh.
she was like, huh, that's an idea. So she went to Chat GPT and she was like, put in a prompt that this is what the book is kind of about. We
Mm-hmm.
want to use the F word. Like, give us some ideas with the F word. And we kind of took a little bit from here, a little bit from there, and
Mm-hmm.
put together, fuck them, heal you. And when she said that, I was like, that's the one. We had
Mm-hmm.
like 5 or 6 ideas, but I was like, no, it's
Mm-hmm.
fuck them, heal you. That's the one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I saw it last week, the title, I said,
Yeah.
huh? Oh, okay. Right. It's a catchy title, you know. It's,
Yeah.
and it should have book sales, okay? You
I
know,
sure hope so.
when people go to purchase it, I got to find out what this book is all about, So
Yeah.
that's good.
I
That is
hope they understand right from the jump. It's fuck
yeah.
them, heal you. And then the subtitle is remove every obstacle to your well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And in the introduction to the book, I tell you who is them, right? Because that's the question. And if you like, I read just a brief excerpt to
Yeah,
tell,
go ahead. Yeah, yeah. So,
yeah, to tell you who is them. Let me just
mhm.
pull it up real quick.
Okay.
Um, them is well defined here. Here we go. All right. So it says in this book, them includes everyone and everything that's an obstacle that's obscuring your focus, your vision, your access, or your desire to heal. Them is your micromanaging boss whose leadership style is chipping away at your confidence and your personhood. Them is your internalized sense of unworthiness. Them is the fake friends who make cutting jokes. Them is your fear of being alone. It's your fear of letting go of something that you've worked hard for. It's the ex that never apologized. It's your limiting beliefs. It's the congregation that you're scared will gossip about you if you get therapy or a tattoo or a girlfriend. It's your shame. And the list goes on. So we are saying fuck all of them
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and learning exactly how. Chapter 1 is fuck them limiting mindsets. Chapter 2 is fuck emotional reactivity, being a slave to your emotions. Chapter 3 is fuck them people. And so on and so forth. Whatever's blocking you from
Mm-hmm.
being well and healing.
Mm-mm-mm. So, okay, how many chapters you got in the book?
It's 7 chapters long.
7 chapters long. Each chapter starts off with "fuck you."
Well, not all of them, but the first 5 do.
Uh,
Chapter 6 is called Let That Shit Go.
oh boy.
And chapter 7 is called Heal You. And it's
Mm-hmm.
about your ongoing journey forward.
Right.
But I didn't just create a book, I also created a course to accompany that book. And in the course, there's a module that goes with each chapter, and I teach
Mm-hmm.
you a somatic healing techniques. I teach you how to
Right.
take it further and actually apply the concepts to your life.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have created a membership community because once you start taking on the attitude that you're going to prioritize your healing and your wellness and your own soul's intention in life first, you're going to lose some relationships. You might have to walk away from some opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Healing can be very lonely when you truly prioritize moving forward in your life. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's why I created a membership community so that people who read this book, take this course, and actually apply these things to their life, don't have to go through healing alone.
Mm-hmm.
So in the membership community, you get access to other people who are like-minded and doing similar work, but you also get access to the course. You get access to weekly group coaching sessions with me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there's retreats, there's first dibs on different offers that come up. So membership is really, really special, the community that we're creating.
Mm-hmm. Good, good, good. Now, what is the cost of your book?
The book is $24.99 on Amazon right now.
Mm-hmm.
So if you type "fuck them, heal you" into Amazon, you'll only get my book.
Well,
um,
yeah, I know you will. I ain't gonna, you probably got a whole page to yourself.
yes,
Uh-huh.
and the membership community is $34.99 to join a month.
Mhm. So how? Okay, uh, you really can't give us a count of how you're doing yet, because the book's not gonna come out till tomorrow. I mean, to the 12th, right?
Well, it's officially not supposed to launch
Uh-huh.
until the 12th, but Amazon approved my book early, and Reggie, you're the first to know. So
Okay,
your audience is the first to know that the book is now up and available on
okay,
Amazon.
good, good, good,
You got
good.
the exclusive.
Hey, all right, appreciate that.
You deserve it, my friend.
Make me feel big. Okay.
You deserve it. You've been having me on your show for 2 years now. Do you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. I was looking through trying to. I always try to find a link for tonight's show, and then I'll send it out and post it on Facebook and post it on LinkedIn and everything. And I just kept scrolling across your face. I said, you've been on this show quite a bit.
Yes, I'm so
Yeah,
grateful you keep having me back. I love
yeah.
coming on your show. We always have a great talk.
Well, I think what you offer is something that we need to have, and that's dealing with um, mental health. Okay, and I think that's important. That is
Yes.
important because we're just going through so much in this country now, and we just came out of these elections, and I think everybody's like they're down and out in their feelings and everything now because of some fact. Everyone anticipated there was going to be this big change in this country, and we were going to step forward into this century like a lot of other countries had, and elect a woman for president, but a black woman for president, and it didn't happen. And I think a lot of people, that enthusiasm just killed them.
Yeah.
Just killed them. Okay, so um, you know, people dreading the next 4 years, because that's something we're gonna have to deal with. We don't have no choice. We definitely didn't want to go through it for a second time, but we did get through the first time. So dealing with it for the second time shouldn't be that big of a problem, you know. But it's something we have to do, So we got to have them coping mechanisms to be able to cope with it.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
such a good point, Reggie. I know I shed my tears after the election, like so many others. So yeah, I think as far as coping mechanisms go, number one, always feel your feelings.
Mhm.
Number two, allow yourself to begin tapping into your body. It's going to help you to become very present with yourself. And it will also help you remain aware of what you have immediate control over, what's really happening with you. Your emotions present themselves as bodily sensations.
Mhm.
It's not always happening here and here. It can happen all over your body if you give your body the attention and tune into yourself.
Mhm.
So by tuning into the feelings and sensations throughout your entire body, you begin to detach yourself from the things that are outside of you in a healthy way. So you're not so moved by everything that happens and rocked by everything that happens when you're tuned into yourself.
Mhm.
You can also begin to choose more effectively how you will respond based on what your body needs.
Mhm.
So now you're living from the inside out rather than outside in, allowing other people to tell you how you should be responding or how you should feel or what to think. When you tap into your body sensations in the present moment,
Hmm.
Healing begins just simply by observing what's happening. Um, it's so simple that we take it for granted that it wouldn't be effective. It
Right.
is extremely effective.
So yeah, so we got to learn how to cope. I mean, we definitely got to learn how to cope and everything, So yes, Mark. What's up, Mark?
Yeah,
I had a
Mark.
quick question for Raven, and it's based on something that she is very much interested in, and everything which is sexual health and all along those lines. And what I had was an interesting conversation, which I don't know if you agree or disagree, but we're in the middle of the holiday season. So I was talking to a buddy of mine, and we were theorizing that unfortunately or fortunately, because a lot of people don't like to be alone during the holidays, that there might be a rise in casual sexual encounters during this particular time and everything, because it does seem like a lot of times people are very much having that fear of being alone because you'd want to be with family during the holidays. So sometimes there might be people that are more prone to getting into casual sexual encounters because of that. So I just wondered, as a expert in that kind of field, your thoughts around that, because it was a very fascinating conversation I had earlier today, that people were feeling that this push toward wanting to be with somebody during the holidays, and maybe even getting pushed into situations that they don't necessarily need to be in or want to be in. But I mean, not that there can't be some good aspects of casual sex as well. But I just wanted your thoughts on this notion that some people may be doing it out of loneliness, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, Mark, that's a great question. And there's a whole term for it now called cuffing season.
Right.
It's cuffing season. It's cuffing season right now where people want to put the cuffs
Boy.
on somebody just for a little while to make it through the cold months.
Right.
And this is such a complex conversation to have because while on one hand, it's so easy to kind of look at that and say, don't engage in relationships where you're not really invested. Don't put yourself in that position, that type of thing. And while yes, absolutely yes, make sure you know your status, your sexually transmitted disease status,
Right.
and be mindful as you go through this season. If you are engaging in sexual activities with people that you don't know very well, keep set your safety and longevity on the forefront. There are some things that you cannot get rid of that a
Right.
lot of people have and are passing around.
Right.
So every season of the year, be mindful of that.
Yes.
But also, I would say that this issue is so much deeper than what we see on the surface.
Mhm.
Loneliness contributes to heart disease at the same rate as smoking. And I know that I have said that on this show before, but for any listener who hasn't heard me say it, loneliness contributes to heart disease, physical heart disease in the body that can kill you at the same rate as smoking, which is why our instinct is to respond to loneliness and take it seriously. And so that's why that craving for another person is so strong. And I would even go so far as to say, for men especially, there's a lot of trickery among men this time of year trying to take advantage of lonely folks and kind of meet their needs. And it's not coming a lot of times from this really evil place, but patriarchal build up in society is such that the only place where men can get their biological need for touch and affection is in a romantic capacity.
Mhm.
And so he has this physical, biological need that every human has to be touched, to be admired, to have an affectionate connection. And the only place socially that he's allowed to have that is in the romantic protection with a woman. And so now you create this culture of men who are just trying to get a biological need met. And now they're kind of bargaining, with women and with other men to manipulate you into getting this need met. And there's this desperation around it. Whereas if we could just relax that part of the culture among men and allow men to learn to experience platonic affection,
Mhm.
there would be a lot less of that fire and heat, and urgency
Mhm.
around having a romantic or sexual connection. it would solve, kind of calm that fire down, so we can make decisions based on what we actually desire and not based on a biological need that's chronically going unmet. Starving people are going to try to eat, you know? And so I would advise everybody to find ways to get their needs met, to meet their needs. As a single woman, I don't go without my need for affection being met. I go and travel to where the love is. If there is, I cuddle with my friends platonically and watch a movie. I hug, I have lots of hugs in my life. As a matter of fact, today I drove from Alabama to Georgia with a big kiss mark on my cheek because one of my girlfriends gave me a kiss with lipstick on my face. And I thought it was so funny and adorable. And as I said, a heterosexual woman, right? But having affection, platonic affection, is normal part of my life. And if more men could normalize some form of platonic affection on a regular basis in the culture of masculinity, I think we would see a little bit more of that holiday, chaotic, desperate mating thing kind of die down a little bit.
Yeah,
Or at least to be a little more honest, about it.
But then some people might not even want to be bothered with nobody over the holidays. They might just want to be by themselves and just reminisce on the past and everything. And
Yeah.
just go that
There's
way.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And I think there's a pressure, like there's this holiday pressure to be, in community, which it really is a good thing. But also, you don't have to do it all the time. You don't have to do whatever you do. That's the beauty of tapping into your body and experiencing your own needs. Answer the questions from the inside out.
Sometimes you got to tap into needs that are traditional and everything. I was actually talking to Mom earlier today, and she was out with three of my two of my aunts, because it's three that are living out of the four and everything. So Mom was with two of her aunts and two of their cousins. So they were having a girls bonding. I think they've done this now for a few years. That she's put it, we go shopping, we go to the restaurant. We don't really buy anything. We're going window shopping, but it is just something that they do to have that sister love and that sister togetherness and everything. So Mom was definitely, when I talked to her earlier this evening, probably about an hour ago, and everything, she was saying we had a great old time. We just sit there and just sat there and kind of like you're talking about with your girlfriends. We just chuckled and had a good time enjoying each other, because we just celebrated on Julie's 80th birthday a couple of weeks ago and everything. And Mom's in her early 80s. I think some of the others in that 70, 80 range and everything. But they were just enjoying themselves as the old ladies out and about, enjoying their small rural town. They were actually in Rocky Mount, I think, when they did it this time around. They've come to Durham sometimes, and sometimes they're going up to Rocky Mount. But they were just having that, what do y'all call it? Girls' night out, or girls' afternoon out and everything like that.
Yeah, yeah. And men need that too. Like we all need it, regardless of gender. But, I don't want to discount the people who need sex. There's nothing wrong with that. It's only wrong if you're dishonest about it, right? Or if you are acting in what the Buddhists call sexual misconduct, things like rape, or you're taking from somebody from a place of power, and it's not about sex at that point; it's about power. So if you're operating from the inside out and making decisions based on the inside out, there's also a rise of this. I don't know if you've heard of the term incel.
I've heard the name, but I can't remember what it is.
Yeah. There's a lot of conversations about men who are incels, involuntary celibate, meaning men who want to have relationships but cannot seem to acquire them.
Right.
And there's a rise of this frustration among men that's becoming a very, popular topic. And a lot of women are saying like, when we're lonely, we're told, get over it, stop being a lonely hag, fix your hair, and maybe you get somebody. When the men are lonely, it's an epidemic, Well,
it is. We special.
I see. So
we special, But, it goes to show you how thinking and times have changed. I mean, coming up, being a young man at one time, you just out there to hit it and quit it, okay? That's what your thinking was, and everything, because you won't try to get married, you won't try to get, have a steady girlfriend or anything like that. So you just base out there hitting and quitting it. Now it's like evolved into something else different now. Relationships and things of that nature, has really evolved, from the time I grew up to where I am now,
Were they catfishing you? Because definitely, I think last time Raven was on, I know that I have probably been folks that have tried to target or catfish me at least several times, wanting you to send this amount of money or that amount of money in order to get what they claim is a relationship. But there seems to be a whole rise in catfishing.
Oh yeah, people are scamming. People are scamming out here.
Be careful.
Yeah.
Watch yourself on those apps.
Because people looking for money, so they feel like if they have quote unquote so-called beauty, and they post their picture and everything, then they probably start asking for money and stuff. There are going to be some men that are going to fall for it,
Well, I don't think it's very different than the men who you said were hitting it and quitting it. They were taking.
Well, back in the day, that was back.
No, they're still doing that, Reggie. They're still doing that. But I think the culture has changed because so many men were doing that. Now women are saying, "Well, wait, when you get that, you have an orgasm. You didn't give me one. You get my time. You give me a baby, and you get to run off, and I get nothing. My value socially decreases." And so now women are saying, if you want access to me, you need to make it valuable for me too. You don't know how to make me come, so you better bring me some money.
Yeah. So you better get them S&H food stamps you used to have.
I mean, I'm not saying that's me, but I'm saying that's how the tables have turned. And now women are hitting it and quitting it, and the men are feeling some type of way about that.
Yeah, for some type of way. I'm gonna turn it back over to you and Reggie. I was gonna just tease you about your when your girlfriend wrote you on your face and everything, because I remember decades ago, he's a very muscular gentleman. It's one of my cousin-in-law. He's an Apache by trade or by heritage and everything. But I remember he literally fell asleep. That's a mistake when you got young kids around, and that Raven and everything. Because when he woke up, they had put lipstick all over him and everything. So they basically did a whole makeup thing on him. Because like I said, when Lonnie woke up and he does a lot of the tribal dances and powwows and everything, and we were going like, yeah, they got you. That's all we can say is they got you.
They were having fun.
It's fun.
They were having fun. But yeah, relationships, I mean, things evolve, things change. Thinking changes and everything, throughout the years. We have not, because we don't know not, and we don't learn, we just accept what we do is the way to do it.
Yeah.
Now there's an emphasis on counseling and coaching people to how to do things right and everything, and I think that has really changed society, especially in the African American community, Black community. It has changed.
There's a shift happening, Reggie.
Yeah.
There's a shift happening with relationship dynamics, especially when we talk about the romantic space. And it started when women were finally allowed to have bank accounts. You know what I mean? Like women weren't allowed legally to have a bank account, to have property, and so the only way women could survive was at the mercy of a man, which is why men were allowed to hit and quit it, have 3 different women in 3 different cities, cheat, beat, whatever, they wanted to do, because financially women could not live without them. And so now this is, the second generation of women who can actually have a career, have financial standing. And so because of that, we're seeing women being able to ask for more from men than just money, more than finances. Providing means something different now. Whereas before, the only thing men really had to do was provide money. Now, and because of that, they weren't challenged to have the emotional capacity to show up as a real partner for the woman. Now that women have their own money, they're like, you got to be able to meet me here, because now you got to be able to meet me emotionally now. And so men are catching up in that skill set, going to therapy now, because the society wasn't putting the pressure on men to provide in that way until now. And so in the process of that, now we're finding that marriage is no longer a survival necessity. Now, having a romantic partner is not necessary for survival for men or women. And so now what we're looking for is a spiritual partner. We're looking for somebody who can complement our growth, our healing, our well-being, our progress in life. And the search for that is a lot more complicated than the search for somebody who can cook and clean or somebody who can pay the bills. Everybody knows how to cook and clean now. I meet men who can cook and clean better than me, all the time.
Right.
And so if my value as a woman was just, oh, well, I can be pretty and I can cook and clean, and that's all I can do. Well, what do I do now? And
Right.
so for the men, all I know how to do is make money. That's what I was taught I was supposed to do. And you don't need me for that. Well,
Right.
now I'm questioning my manhood. Now you make me feel like I'm emasculated if you don't need me for this. So now we're watching this unfold where people are trying to some people are trying to hold on to like what was working in the old system. And you got some people who are pushing extremely hard for a new system. And you got people in between in the middle who are trying to figure out, who am I? What do I want? What should my standards be? What should I be looking for? But really, we're evolving from a place where romantic relationships are about survival to a place where romantic relationships are about companionship. And that's challenging the systems that are at play.
Yeah, yeah. So where do you go from here, Raven? I know you, like you say, you've had a tough year this year, but I mean, I think you've at a point there where you're going up. So where do you go from here? What are your plans?
I'm excited about my plans, Reggie. I'm about to go on a book tour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So first stop, I'm going to my hometown in Louisiana. I'll be leaving here in Georgia in a few days to travel to Louisiana, do some events, do some book sales events, do some open mic nights. I've got some new poetry and things like that. So I'm just going to be going on a speaking tour. After that, I'll go to Texas. I would like to go up the West Coast. So right now I'm in talks with some different bookstores, some different, conferences where I can show up in a speaking capacity. And support people, teach, provide the book, provide as many tools as I can on the road. So I'll be traveling across the U.S. through the winter, and my hope is to go overseas for the spring.
Okay, be careful out there going through, driving during the winter through some of them states. You're gonna freeze. I mean, you have the snow out there. Some of them states, Colorado, Montana, and all them places.
Yeah.
Very cold and everything. Okay, so then when do you plan to come on the East Coast?
I'm not sure. To be honest, I'm not sure. I have some friends and contacts in the Virginia area, South Carolina, but I don't have anything scheduled there yet. So you, Reggie, will know about the tour schedule. I will send it to you as soon as I have it fleshed out.
Hey, Raven, if you're ready, I'll get the information from my bosses because I am not the person that hires and everything, but we do have an entire theater and we can even do a dialogue because I know we've done some book signings over at the Haytire Heritage Center, which is the other place that I work at and everything. So we might have to get a book signing or a book event for you at the one of the largest cultural centers in Durham and all along those lines. So we'll have to see if we can get you to have a stop because I know Alexis Gump and other authors have been there. So we might have to see if we can get you a stop at the center, which is a converted church and seats about 400 people. So we might have to see if we can't get you to a book stop at that environment as well, if you're open to that conversation.
That would be tremendous, Mark. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, we'll definitely make it happen and everything. Yeah. I was going to just tease you really quickly because I have not seen you because I know I don't think that you've been on the show, even though Reggie knows about it. But I know at the beginning you're talking about grieving, and grieving sometimes doesn't even involve the loss of life. It can also involve the change in people's health and all along those lines. Because I don't know how much you followed Reggie's show, but in the last month or two, Dad is recovering, but Dad had major heart surgery, then went to a rehab center, and now is recovering and doing that whole health drive and everything along those lines. So I'm checking on him on a pretty regular basis, as is the rest of the family members and everything like that, because he was a only child, but he has a lot of community here in Durham and among the nation, even, or the region even. But I know you're a big fan of community, even if you're in the healing, because that can be a form of grief. Even if you're not physically gone, you're still dealing with the change in your body, for lack of a better term.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I'm so sorry to hear about this, Mark. This is hard and very serious.
Yeah.
I've been there, watching someone that you love go through declining health. It's
Right.
very painful. And it can be so discouraging to the heart, even
Right.
when you continue to get the bad news over time. So, yeah, thank you for sharing that with me. And I didn't know. I'm sorry to hear this.
Yeah.
And, continuing your journey of showing up and being present, a lot of times that does just help the process as you go, knowing that you've been there, asking the questions that you have, of that person, and providing as much joy, in the time as you can.
Yeah, sometimes they're even difficult conversations because, like I said, I know that Dad has said that he plans to be here for a long time. I mean, his wish is to be here for multiple decades and multiple years, but even in that space, and I have to be honest to say we haven't got to it yet, but he has been trying to get me and my younger brother to meet with him just to have an idea of what we would want to keep, because he's definitely talking about downsizing and trimming down his possessions as he gets older, because there are some things that if he should transition, and he's not planning to transition anytime soon, that he would want to know what we would want to keep and he can get rid of, because as you get older you also start reflecting on life and start to downsize in your things that you have in your possession. So I know that he wants us to, and he's been wanting this now for weeks, to have a conversation with him just to see some of the keepsakes that are there that he wants to see what we want to keep, whether it's in my house or my brother Malik's house or whoever's house it might be. But that's a conversation we haven't had as of yet, but we need to have.
Well, my heart is with you as you continue this.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, we've had a great night tonight. Now, do you have any ads already made up for your book?
Yes, I do.
You need to send me one, 'cause I'm working on the magazine right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Send me an ad to put in there.
Wonderful, Mark. Just let me know the dimensions that you need it in, and I'll make sure it's correct and ready to go for you.
Just send it. We'll crop it and do everything we have
Okay.
to do, to fit the magazine. So
Nice.
throw a little bio on there, and then throw your, well, it's obviously the book name will be on the flyer, but just throw a little information on there.
Absolutely. We love Urban Sentinel now.
Yeah, and send it to me tomorrow.
Okay. I'll give it to you tomorrow. We'll get it in there.
Yeah, I kind of need it right away.
Okay.
To get it done. Do you have a video we can run it? Yeah, and then like I say, if you have a video made of, I can use that prop into the next. I'm gonna do one more show next week, and then I'm gonna come back after the first of the year.
Okay.
Everything, so
I don't know if I will have a video ad by that time or not, but I can get you the the print one.
Okay, yeah. So
thank you.
Gotta hook a sister up,
Thank you. I always appreciate your support.
Yeah, we got. I mean, the one thing about the Black community, we just don't know how to help each other. We got to do that. I was talking to someone, and we were talking about the need for, because all these corporations are getting rid of DEI and all this kind of stuff because of right-wing conservatives and stuff. And I was telling someone that we in the Black community, it's easy to say boycott stores, but I understand at the same time people do need stuff. But if we had our own source of how we, if we had our own warehouses where we could store stuff and ship it to people and stuff like that, we could really make our dollars talk.
Who, Reggie? Yeah, now how much time you got?
We could really make our dollars talk, and we don't make our dollars talk. Because everybody was saying boycott Walmart, but I know here in my neighborhood, in my area, a lot of these folks, this is where they shop at. So they wouldn't, how, first of all, how do you get the word out to them? Let them know the importance. How do you teach them and everything about boycotting and why we're boycotting and stuff? They don't know. Hey, they need a dollar bar of soap. They know they can go to Walmart and get that dollar bar of soap. They don't go to the dollar store. So you got to teach people how to do stuff. I mean, we as a community, we have lost the spirit of the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Okay, when we got out there, we knew what we had to do, and we did it, and it brought results. And the white community is seeing that we are not on our A game. And they're taking us down on simple things like DEI. You can't do this no more. You can't do that no more.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we got some stuff we got to do.
There's a lot, and it's this. We need the organization on one hand, but we also do need the support.
Yeah.
And the lack of support from the U.S. government for the Black community for all time. We've never received repayment for the Black businesses that they burned down. Those businesses just got burned down, buried underwater, whatever, and nobody was ever compensated for that. Nobody was. And so the Black community has tried decade after decade. And I think what we're witnessing now is the aftermath of just being steamrolled by really the U.S. government and our fellow man, decade after decade. So for the last probably, I would say 3 decades, you've seen, and then, really the drug epidemic was really the last straw for the time and season where Black people were collectively working for elevation as a whole. And now there's so much blame internally that we're not getting anywhere. One of the conversations that immediately just turns me off when I'm talking to a Black man in particular is when I hear a Black man complaining about how, we need to organize, we need to do this, a young Black man, we need to organize, we need to do this, we need to do that. And I'm like, well, what are you doing, sir? You are the one. Black women are organizing. Black women have foundations and programs and things that we're running in the community. I personally have headed up Crown and Comco, which you know about, to try and champion mental health for Black men in the community. And I don't see my brothers leading anything. Put something together.
Yeah, they're lazy. Women are leading the way. We
need our brothers. We need our brothers to stand next to us. And I firmly believe that, if Black men understood that they are the most powerful men on the planet, then they would understand that their stance with us would change this country. If Black men were putting forth the same level of effort into this work of progressing our community as Black women are, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. We need our brothers to stand beside us in this work. But the theme is that when Black men elevate, and this is not all Black men, nothing that I'm saying is all.
Right.
But there's a theme of when I make it, I want to erase my Blackness. I want to escape my Blackness and not work to support the Black community as a whole. And I none of this is meant to be an attack. It's my observation and my hope is that we will start to see more of this. I love seeing in the exit polls, almost 80%, I think, of Black men voted for Kamala, and 90-something% of Black women. And so, there's this thing happening, Reggie, called the Great Step Back. Black women have decided we ain't doing shit else. We have been leading.
I like that.
We are going to sit back and sip our tea and relax and watch and wait for everybody else to catch up.
Yeah. Notice you haven't heard anything else about the march on Washington. When
I'm not marching nowhere. I'm not risking my life.
when the sisters came out and said they weren't going to hook up with the white women, it died. The whole
Yeah,
concept died. They might end up having something smaller, but it definitely ain't having nothing larger because the sisters done said, white women, we finished with you from there. We through.
mm-mm.
You
Y'all
know,
do what you gotta do.
yeah,
I
y'all on
mean,
your own.
I started a group on Facebook, a
Hmm.
4B group for women who want to, support each other.
Hmm.
Um, and I was surprised, by the turnout. I have about 500 women in that group, and
Oh, okay, good.
I started it just after the election.
Hmm.
So women are wanting to do something,
Yeah,
but what I'm
yeah.
seeing is like it's just there's a lot more anger than there is action.
Yeah, and you're right about that. I think we're looking for something new and different, but we got to act quickly because they're killing our programs and
Yeah.
everything. And we got to create programs that they cannot touch us with. We got to create programs where we don't need the government to come in and help us. Uh, we got to have our own private equity funds, things of
Mm.
that nature, where they can't tell us who to lend the money to and everything, because they're trying to kill them sisters down in Atlanta. They're trying to break their back, you know, because they are just giving money to black entrepreneurs and stuff, and they're trying to say that's discriminatory. So they want to take away anything we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And I think we just got to develop our own stuff. You get the secret password, you're able to get in, and
Yeah.
we can do business with you. Okay, if you ain't one of us, you can't be a part of it. Simple
Yeah.
as
Simple as that. We have to do that in order to build ourselves back up,
yeah.
or just to build us up for the first time,
Hmm.
ever in our nation's history. And
Yeah.
the crazy thing is, Reggie, we are American.
Hmm.
Nobody is more American than
But
us.
they don't think so. The
We're
way
the
they
only
act.
ones who we don't have a culture of anywhere else.
Yeah.
The only place we have a culture and a history is here.
Yeah. And they don't act like it. They trying to kill the programs. They're trying to slow us down and do everything. Trying to walk around and say that we are one country now. Since when? We ain't one country. I posted on my Facebook page the other day. Uh, I said to the fact, I can't even remember what I posted there, but it was about, when were we the United States when have we been the United States of America? When have
Mm,
we been united in this and this and this and this and this? We're
mm.
not. We haven't been. So how can you call us the United States of America when you can't even treat us equally? How are we united? We're not united, you know.
Mhm.
Let me get off my militant box.
I like it when you get up there, Reggie. We all like to hear you say it. So,
I'm gonna be more vocal this year. I don't really give a. I really don't care, because like
mhm.
I said, you got to be, like I said, one thing, I'm looking at where are the black civil rights leaders at now? I mean, we got some people out there that are working hard, but we need more people out in the streets, And now black men, you got to understand, you can't be running over to the other side because the other side ain't gonna do nothing for you. You done seen that. I call Tim Scott Bucky, because you always got them teeth sticking out, grinning and smiling, you know and him and Brian Donner down in Florida. Okay, what's up? They didn't select y'all to cabinet post. I mean, you guys do have some brains. Y'all probably better than half them folks he got in his cabinet. But y'all did all that skinning and grinning, and look, we got nothing.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
even a thing. You know, Bucky been single all his life. Thought he gonna become vice president when I married, got his white woman and married her. Where for what? I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. So
Yeah.
we got to uh, we got to. I mean, we've got to start back fighting. And I know this gonna be on YouTube forever, but if we got to go back to the way we did in the '60s and have our hot summers, then that's what we got to do. We got to
Mm.
wake them up and let them know that hey, we are here, and you ain't gonna break our backs, and we're gonna keep coming at you, and you're gonna give us what we want.
Under this Trump administration, I don't believe is the time, because
No,
they're talking about they're going to physically harm people, and the police will
yeah,
have no immunity.
Yeah. Well,
It's not the time for Black people to be protesting, brothers,
yes, it is.
sisters.
Let me tell you something. This stuff stays in the history, but the thing is, if they attack us, we attack them, and that's the thing. We started lighting up their butts. They'll leave us alone. They ain't crazy now.
They are crazy, Reggie, and that's the thing, that they have gained the power all of this time by being the most violent.
Yeah, but see, this is the thing. We've got to move ourselves along. We can't let them keep us down, because if we do, they're gonna keep us down forever, and we got to fight back.
Reggie and Raven, there was actually a comment on that, and I don't know that I necessarily agree with him, but I see where he was going, and I see where you're going, Reggie. But I know that after the Daniel Penny case, the member of the BLM actually came out and said that we need to have vigilantes and everything like that. So I don't know that we necessarily need to do that, but that is what he called for, was like vigilantism and everything like that. So that could be kind of risky at this particular day and time, kind of to what Raven was saying.
We got to wake them up. We can't wait 4 years. Okay, here's a fool that said you might not have to vote again. Okay, give me your vote this time. You might not need to vote again. We don't know what's on his mind at his age. Senile as he is. But we got to go out and speak up. We can't be afraid to speak up and everything. And we're not even doing that. We got to boycott. If it means we got to go to CVS instead of going to Walmart and pay a little more money for some soap, then that's what we got to do. Okay.
I mean, I think, Reggie, I agree with you, but also we are not prepared as a people for a boycott. Realistically,
right? We're not.
Our communities don't have a Black-owned grocery store.
Yeah,
our communities don't have anywhere else to buy soap, like you said. Yeah. So they've monopolized. They've crowded out Black-owned businesses.
Yeah.
And so when it comes time to boycott, we don't know. We don't even have the skills. We don't know how to make our own soap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there are some Black people, there are activists and leaders who are teaching online, hey, this is how we do this. This is how we homestead. This is how we, have community farms. And, but it comes down to that complacency within the systems that have been built. There's so much complacency from oppressed people in general.
Yeah.
And the people who are hustling, to keep the status quo, they already have the money. They already have the power. Yeah. And so in order for us to, take up space, there has to be some taking back. But we also have to share the wealth amongst ourselves in our community. We have to share the knowledge. And we have to be willing to receive that knowledge from one another. And so, keeping the battle of the sexes alive in the Black community is a big part of that strategy to keep us so divided that we're not able to move forward on things.
Yeah.
The discrediting, like the trying to keep misogynoir alive. Don't listen to her. She's a woman. She's gonna. She's invalidating your masculinity with her money and her opinions. Keep her quiet. That's how we like women, quiet and cute. Like that whole ideology in the community is causing Black men, rather than to be our partners, to want to own and subdue us when we have value to contribute if we just work together.
Yeah. And the thing is, yes, we don't have our own businesses, but like if we find businesses that support DEI and things like that, then we need to pour our money and support those businesses. Okay. Target is still in the DEI business. Okay. They're not fearing the backlash of conservative right wingers. So what you do, you get people in training, talk to people, move your money from Walmart and go to Target or go to the Dollar General, something like that. Those are the kind of things we're gonna have to do, because what the idea is that when they look at that balance sheet a year from now, they can say, "Dang, we done lost 20% of our business." Yeah, we took it somewhere else.
Yeah,
because
the Black dollar at Walmart, in particular, the Black dollar is is a big part of their bottom line. And count on us to buy from them.
Yeah.
And on this is on the record, right? We're live, and this is going to live on YouTube. Fuck Walmart, okay? Everybody, and fuck everybody who's anti-black, for the
Mhm.
record. If
Yeah.
you're anti-black, literally hear me say it
Mhm.
loud and clear and ring it through the ears for the times, for the ages.
Mhm.
Literally, fuck you.
Yeah.
And black people, we not only do we deserve better, but we
Mhm.
can create better if we
Mhm.
focus, if we work together, if we are, and there's that organization that's needed. And the same is true for this women's movement. I look at this 4B group or a 4B inspired group,
Mhm.
that I started. And I've just been observing for the last month or so what the conversations are like, where the women are thinking about. And a lot of times it's just the anger, that they're just stuck on the anger, and nobody's thinking about the bigger picture of how are we going to secure our bodily autonomy rights?
Mhm.
How are we going to make sure that women have access to midwives?
Mhm.
How are we going to make sure that we protect Black women in birth? The
Mhm.
same kind of thing that's happening on the scale with women is the conversation that should be happening on the scale with Black people as well. How
Mhm.
are we going to protect ourselves from a police force that has no rules, no boundaries?
Right.
How are we going to protect Black men who get pulled over, Black women? How are we going to, shore up our financial security for our children, our future?
Yeah.
And it scares me to
Mhm.
be a part of an age in the Black community where
Mhm.
there is no leadership for
Mhm.
us.
Yeah.
Ever
Yeah.
since they killed Martin and Malcolm, Black
Mhm.
people have been scared ever since.
Yeah, we hit drop the ball, so we're willing to accept the crumbs now, and not even fuss about it, and they know that, and that's why they pressing down on us,
Well, they know that for sure and everything, but they also know that sometimes they have run a scam on us as well and everything. Because one of the conversations I had with another friend of mine, which I had literally forgot about and everything, was
Mm-hmm.
it's not just in our communities, but it's in some of our allied communities as well. Because there was this
Mm-hmm.
whole baseball battle that existed between Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa, and I did not realize that
Mm-hmm.
Sammy Sosa is literally bleaching himself. So even though we
Yeah.
remember him as the Hispanic kind of guy and everything, he's trying to
Mm-hmm.
turn himself white by literally doing this
Mm-hmm.
whole bleach care and everything. And
Yeah.
apparently he's been doing this for decades. So that to me
Mm-hmm.
is scary that he's not willing to accept who he is as his natural self and everything, and he
Mm-hmm.
wants to make himself something that he isn't.
Yeah.
How do
Yeah.
we inspire? I have a question for the two of you.
Mm-hmm.
How do we inspire a new age of leadership in the Black community?
You got to work with these young men and young women.
Mm-hmm.
And they often to see young people, and I look at my daughter, and especially because she's 27. They they don't teach Black history in schools no more. Okay, so they don't know the struggles. My daughter knows because I taught her. Okay, but for most of these students out here now, they have not young people and out of college and everything. They haven't heard about the struggle. Yeah, when Martin Luther King's birthday comes along, you see a movie on TV about Martin Luther King, or you see the Malcolm X movie or something like that. That's the only exposure they have to it. In the books that they're using in secondary schools now, they only give maybe a half a page or a page to Black history. That's it. So the kids really starting in high school don't even get exposure to it. So we got to figure a way how to expose the kids and let them know what the struggles are. Then too, we've got to stop as a community jumping on the bandwagon when something bad in our community happens. And then as soon as the thrill is gone, we gone. Okay. It's just like with George Floyd. When George Floyd got killed, everybody come out the house, jumped on the bandwagon and everything, rode that wagon. Then when the thrill died, when the officer was convicted, we came back into the house. Okay. You can't do that. You got to keep riding and riding and riding and
I
pushing
think
that.
people don't know what to do though. Like people don't know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, I maintain my anger and my passion, but
Mm-hmm.
what do I do? What do we collectively do? Um, and I think the thing when I talk about leadership,
Mm-hmm.
when we had an enthusiastic, charismatic, um, voice like
Mm-hmm.
a Malcolm or a Martin, somebody who was captivating
Mm-hmm.
for the audience, but also who had the clarity and foresight of what needed to happen next, a
Mm-hmm.
plan of action.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are people who are like that,
Mm-hmm.
but I think there is fear, right? There's a fear of being that icon, being, targeted as that voice. At least that's how I'm perceiving it. Maybe that's not it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is no one.
It's probably a mixture of a lot of different things, and that's probably one of the things too. Because I think too, we've gotten comfortable in our skin. You got to realize we can work where we want to work. I don't know how long that's going to be, but we can live where we want to live. We can drive the cars we want to drive, and so I think more of it is protecting my assets and what I have. Okay, instead of going out there, because like I said, they got one guy who's going around making these companies change how they do business. Okay, I'm gonna tell you something. If we came together, went to Bentonville, Arkansas, walked up into that Walmart office and set up an appointment and demanded to speak to the CEO of the company and said, "Look, we're gonna die trying, but we're gonna stop shopping with you all. We're gonna take those black dollars somewhere else." If we put pressure on him, he starts seeing his business going on, DEI would be back. Okay. The thing is, you can't take, and what's happening in this country now. Whites are scared that, and they know, and so they're scared. They know one day they're going to be a minority. Okay, so what they're trying to do now is pull away everything that they can to keep themselves in power. Okay, we've got to reverse that. Okay, we got to push back on them and say, no, it's not going to be that way. We still need certain protections. If we don't start doing what we need to do, the Voting Rights Act is not going to get renewed the next time it comes around, because they say, well, we let everybody vote. Why do we need a Voting Rights Act? Okay. The Civil Rights Act is going to be gone. Like you said, Trump is ready to give these guys immunity to do whatever they want to do as police officers. We've got to start marching, hollering, and going back. And then the biggest thing we've lost in our communities, Raven and Mark, is the black church. Okay. The black church was where everything got started at. Okay. But the pastors now, the preachers are scared they're going to lose their IRS nonprofit status. So they don't discuss nothing like this in the church no more, So we need people out here who are willing to give time and go to use technology, use whatever leverage they have to get the word out that we've got to stand up, because right now we're sitting down.
No,
I
I agree with
agree.
both of you and everything. Go ahead. I was just gonna say I agree with both of you, but I do sometimes think that to your question, Raven, we don't give enough support to those that are doing that activity and that are positive leaders. Because I do know there are, even here where I'm at in Durham, there are young leaders and young activists, and sometimes people are afraid to let go of control. I mean, that's been going on for a while. As a matter of fact, I think in Kwanzaa later on this week, that'll be one of the conversations we're going to have is intergenerational communication and how we can make sure that people are respecting each other across generational lines. As a matter of fact, I think that'll be in 2 weeks. We're going to have that discussion and everything. And even when I did one of the planning calls yesterday, that's what we were talking about, is that a lot of times people are afraid to listen to the young folks, and sometimes they are not hearing some of the good ideas. And I'm not saying that they have to be given carte blanche, but they do have some ideas. And sometimes people are afraid to relinquish control because they've been in power for so long and all along those lines. So definitely there is wisdom in the elderly. I mean, I'm the part of that crowd now as a 62-year-old and everything, but there is definitely some wisdom that can come out of the young people as well. And sometimes I think that we don't give them enough do listening, and we think that they're not doing things when they actually are. And even this notion when y'all were using the soap example, I can tell you some people that right now know how to make soap and have the homemade shea soap that you can literally come to their stores and buy it, but it's not in corporate America. So I do think that sometimes we need to support our small shops as well, because a number of these people are not in corporate America. They're in small things. I even mentioned the black bookstores. Unfortunately, they have been dying left and right and everything like that, but there are still a few black bookstores out there. So we need to support those smaller businesses that are out there and that are doing some positive things in that way. So I do think that there is more hope than we're maybe given credit to, even in terms of some of the young voices. But I mean, even to your point, Reggie, our churches haven't necessarily highlighted some of those leaders. Our black press hasn't highlighted, not necessarily you, because I know you do highlight them, but it hasn't highlighted a number of these young people and everything. So I think about like even the Baltimore paper and the papers down here in North Carolina that don't highlight because they're too busy falling into that same trap of reporting on negative news. So we've fallen in that trap. And last but not least, and I'll just get off of my soapbox and everything, is that we sometimes fall into the trap of divide and conquer and letting people divide and conquer us and everything. We let people get into that whole notion because we all have friends or family that are in the LGBT community. So when they try to make it that it's the LGBT community versus the church community and that they are polar opposites of each other and therefore they shouldn't get along, that's a classic divide and conquer, and they've been doing that for decades. So I think that we got to get out of this whole divide and conquer.
Well, look, guys, I love y'all. We talk the rest of the night. And we could literally sit here and talk the rest of the night, but I got to see the man in the morning for a little while. But to my listeners, if you stayed on, we went a little past our time and everything. You know, we got a lot of work to do. You know, we're not trying to be racist or, you know, be a race against one another, but we know what we have to do in the Black community. And I know there are white friends and white partners out there that support what we do, and they'll be right there with us and everything. But we've got to figure out how we're going to change things here in America and not let us get pushed back into the 40s. And then we got to fight again for our rights. And that's what they're trying to do, is push us back into the era of the 40s and say, well, look, we let y'all vote. So why do you need to have a Voting Rights Act? And I'm really scared I'm really concerned that if we don't start raising our voices, that Civil Rights Act, Voting Rights Act, things that help us are going to be taken away from us, and this country is going to be changed forever. And it will never be like it was, you know. So, Raven, thank you for being a part of the show tonight. We've had a great discussion. Congratulations on your new book. What was the name of it again?
Fuck Them, Heal You.
Okay. You know, so you all everyone go to Amazon and help Raven out. She gave you the title. Just put the title in there. Believe me, with her title, she's going to be the only book there, you know. Okay, so, support her. And we got to do more supporting our Black businesses, okay? We don't have to support Walmart. There's enough people out here doing stuff that we can get it done, okay? Heck, make your own cornflakes, okay? Figure out how to do it, okay? Do your own stuff at home, okay? But we got to do it. So, again, I want to thank everybody. We'll be back on next Tuesday night. I don't know with who, but we'll be back on next Tuesday night on the Urban Sentinel live show. And I'm Reggie Kearney. Thank you, Raven. Thank you, Mark. Y'all have a good night and see you next Tuesday. Take care. Good night.